Make some noise for Josh Johnson!
What a week. You know, like I don't want to jinx it, but I'm feeling pretty good. I think we got him. I think in case you didn't know, Diddy has been arrested and charged with just almost everything. Initially, it was sealed, and we just knew they were going to be holding him for a little while. And then they unsealed, and we were like, what? Because Diddy is very important for people to understand. Diddy is, when I say a monster, it's just because I don't want to swear. Diddy isn't the monster the way that, like, a person in your life that you know is evil is a monster. Diddy is a monster in the way that I'm pretty sure even the devil is like, ooh. Ooh, somebody coming for my job. And I know that, you know, you're supposed to say allegedly. But he did all of it. He did everything. He did everything that I believe that Diddy did whatever they say he did. And that doesn't just apply to like the cases he has now. I believe Diddy did stuff he hadn't been accused of yet. I believe Diddy caused inflation. He's even, if I'm not mistaken, being charged with arson in connection with blowing up Kid Cudi's car. Who blows up cars? Let's talk for a sec, because here's the thing. I do understand the intimidation and the general paranoia you build in a person's life when you blow up their car. All right? So I get why people like Diddy and the mob blow up cars. It's very effective. You know, somebody's thinking about testifying and then they're going out and then they go, beep, beep, boosh. And they're like, maybe not. But to blow up a car, really, because he's not blowing up the car himself. Diddy wasn't getting under the car with something with wheels on it in the back and then rubbing wires together and then taping it and then letting the tape fall and be like, and then taping it back. He sent someone else to do that, you know? But they arrested him, and they arrested him. I gotta look at this again to make sure I'm right, but I'm pretty sure the warrant had every name he ever went by in it. Just in case he opened the door and been like, who? No, I don't know a Puff Daddy. No, there's not a Puff here either. Would you be looking for just a general Diddy? Because he's not in. I go by Brother Love. This man did everything. You know, and then they arrested him. They got him locked up in Brooklyn in one of the worst one of the worst places to be locked up. It's really bad. Here's how bad it is. It's so bad that that prison alone has had several murders, and it is so bad condition-wise that 2 federal judges have already said that they will not send anyone else there. That's where they sent him. And this dude... That's where they sent him. And this dude wanted to make sure he didn't go to jail so bad. So bad. Properly. Like he put it all up. This dude was willing to pay a $50 million bond. Do you know how much you did it? To put up $50 million. $50 million is the type of money where you're like, I can't, first of all, most people don't make $50 million in their entire life, right? So for you to put up that money, just not be in jail yet, you know jail is coming. $50 million. Do you know what you could do with $50 million? You could fix a small country with $50 million US dollars. $50 million, and he was like, and I'll use my home and my jets as the bond. Like, this dude was putting up proper collateral of things he has. Mansion, jet, all of it. And the state said, nah. Just to fully paint the picture, do you realize that the same country that said nah to that is the same country that has bail at heights that are actually unconstitutional for regular people, right? They will, if a judge doesn't like you, or if they feel like, okay, this person maybe didn't do it, but I know he doesn't have means, they will set an unreasonably high bail, which is against the Constitution, just to make sure you can't get out. But they didn't deny your bail. They just set bail at something you couldn't possibly pay, right? That same country got offered $50 million bond. And they were like, nah, because I know you. You know how bad they want you if they don't accept a $50 million bond? And so he's sitting in that jail, and his lawyers are trying to get him out. They went to that judge, and the judge was like, no, I heard what you do. You blow up cars for no reason. How am I supposed to believe? They're like, he's not a flight risk. It's like, no, he won't have to fly if he tampers with every witness we have. No. So the judge denied bail, and then they went to another judge, and they were like, look, $50 million, okay? Got the mansion, got the jets, all right? We also, how about this? I'll stay at home, all right? And I won't interact with any women that aren't the mothers of my children, right? Which is a crazy, what? I won't interact with any women except the women I already terrorize. What an insane. Also, we know you're a predator to dudes too. Like that you're not being slick, being like, I won't talk to any women. No. This dude is the devil. So they denied it again. And his lawyers were pleading. They were like, please, listen, the prison that he is in it's horrible. It's absolutely disgusting. It's terrible conditions. It's traumatizing. It's in his mental health. You can't be at a place like this, And then the more they described it, the more I was listening. I was like, that just sounds like Diddy's house. for everybody else. They raided his house, found all manner of stuff. They found 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Let's be clear here. Diddy is a monster. Diddy is the devil, right? The 1,000 bottles alone was enough for me to lock him up forever. Are you drinking it? 1,000 bottles. 1,000. Wooga booga. I went to a friend's house one time, and it was just like a little quick get together. They had made dinner and everything. I went to the bathroom, right? And I had a headache before I got to the party. So then, I told them while I was there, I was like, hey, I've been having this headache for like hours. Do you have like an Advil, something I can take? And they were like, yeah, go to the bathroom in the medicine cabinet should be the Advil, right? And so then, chatting, I finally go over to the bathroom. I open the medicine cabinet. The Advil is not there. And so I go to that lower part, under the sink. I'm like, maybe the Advil will be under there. And under the sink, I saw 3 bottles of baby oil. And I was like, these are some freaks. They do not have a child. And they had 3 bottles of baby oil. 1 bottle means you get busy. 3, what are you stocking up for? The fact that Diddy had 1,000 means he should be under a prison right now. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine what it would be like to be Diddy's lawyer. You gotta imagine it's a pretty good job to have. Because he's about to drop millions and millions of dollars in court and on lawyers that no one expects to win. Think about that. Anyone in here could be Diddy's lawyer. Like, he's not gonna beat the case anyway. It might as well be me standing there like, yeah, that's him. He says he didn't, so take that into consideration. You know what I mean? Just filing motions. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That is crazy. I mean, what can you do if you're Diddy's lawyer? They have so much. They have so much because Diddy did so much. He did it and he recorded it. He recorded himself doing everything he did and blackmailing people. So then when the people say he's been blackmailed, the feds already have the tape that they're talking about that was being used to blackmail them. So he basically made his own case this entire time. As Diddy's lawyer, all you can do is be like, that one tape is grainy. We don't know. We don't even know if that's him in that one, okay? The other 222, yes, but this one is hard to make out who is in there at all. We don't know. Diddy's lawyer was on camera taking questions from the media, which seems like a bad idea. Because unless Diddy has a twin, his lawyer didn't have anything to say that's helpful. Because the lawyer was just talking to some of the press, and there was someone who asked them. They said that they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil when they raided his house, and his lawyer did his best. He put in a valiant effort. This man said, well, I don't know if it was 1,000. It was a lot. That's your lawyer. It was a lot. But you know, there's a Costco just down the street from his house, and as you know, Americans love to buy in bulk. The whole time he's talking, you could tell he's trying not to laugh. It's like, if he's buying the baby oil in bulk, why wasn't anything else in bulk? You know, it's insanity. We should have known, and I think a part of us did know, that Diddy was the devil when he did Making the Band. If you're too young to remember, there was a time when MTV had music on it. And in that time, Diddy, who I think went by P. Diddy at the time, maybe, or Puff, or it was Puff, he was him, okay? And he did a show where he would try to make a group, right? A hip-hop group or an R&B group or whatever. And throughout the course of that show, he would America's Next Top Model these people, all right? He would put them through absolute hell. There was one time that I think he made them walk, I'm gonna get this wrong, but he made them walk from like Brooklyn to Harlem to go get him a piece of cheesecake. And we watched it and we were like, that seems excessive. I don't know what that has to do with singing. The show ran for a few seasons and a couple of people came out of it, but most of the groups pretty much failed because he wasn't really making a group. He was just manipulating people. He was just being terrible, you know? I think we should have really known who Diddy was through and through a couple Halloweens ago. Because I don't know if you remember, but Diddy went as the Joker, and he was an impeccable Joker. This dude had prosthetics on or something, and he looked more like the Joker than Heath Ledger did. This dude had the hair and everything flopping to the side and stuff, and he had the movements going. He had a purple suit, had the green hair and the red lips and the big scars and everything. It was truly terrifying. And everyone he ran into was like, oh, good costume. Chose Halloween to dress up as the Joker. Halloween, a day where we all put on a mask. We all pretend to be someone else, except that nigga. Like, that man was just wearing his true skin. This dude was walking around as a Joker like, I've never felt more free. Everybody terrified when they look at me. He rolled up on Tyler, the Creator. And Tyler, the Creator, was just looking at him like, He got into it that night with an actor on the show Power. I believe his name is Michael J. Ferguson. And I don't know what started the altercation, but all I know is people started filming it, right? And it was Michael J. hands low and everything. He had big muscles, he a big dude and everything. And he's cursing Diddy out. Right now, he just thinks he's cursing this weird Joker out, I think. You know what I mean? Because he's just going at him, what? What you gonna do? Nothing, you know? And then Diddy, for his part, you see the turn. You got to see every little piece of Diddy in that moment. Because at first it starts out, and I really don't even know who was in the wrong, but Diddy just seemed a bit offended. He was like, what did I do to you? I'm just out here trying to have fun and everything. And then you see a turn, and then he's like, well, then let's go. Why would you? And then the threats come and everything, and then someone else goes, yo, Mike, that's Diddy. And he doesn't seem to care. He just keeps jawing at him. And then Diddy, for some reason, decides to like let it go, right? Even gives him a hug. And he was like, oh, it's all good, man. But how about you come to the after party and check the vibration? And I was like, man, this is the devil. Where is Batman when you need him? There's two types of blackmail that Diddy engaged in, right? One was the blackmail that was coercion, right? It was basically, he would have these freak-offs. That's the name of it. I didn't come up with that just now. Don't look at me like I'm sick. I saw your faces. I said it because it's the official term. It's in a government document now. It's not just street slang. It's not Twitter talk. They said, the Attorney General said freak off when he was addressing the nation. So I'm saying freak off. Well, he would have these freak offs, right? And, you know, he would be recording while it was happening. And one of the things that he would do is that if somebody was an unwilling participant and they ever turned on him or told him that they were going to go to the police or they just weren't going to do what he said, he would tell them he had a tape of them and they wouldn't want to get that tape out, right? So he would blackmail them that way. But the other way he would blackmail people is he would have these wild parties and he would be taping everybody. So if you just show up and you do something you're not supposed to be doing, maybe you cheat on your spouse, maybe you do. He's got blackmail on everybody, top to bottom. Two types of blackmail. It's absolutely crazy. So many people want this dude dead. They put Diddy on watch, make sure he doesn't hurt himself, because it would make a lot of sense. If there was ever a time to do it, it'd be now, Diddy. And so they put him on watch and everything, and that's gotta be wild to be like a powerful person, one of Diddy's friends, you know, knowing you were at some of these freak-offs, knowing that he has dirt on you. He might tell on you, and you just sitting there at home just praying. You know, I don't know who wants him dead more, his victims or his friends. That dude is such a monster, and now every clip of him being weird ever has resurfaced. And it turns out he was being weird the whole time. This dude went on Conan and basically just started giving a blueprint for how to get people at your party to take their clothes off. This dude was on Conan O'Brien. Conan was sitting there being like, this sounds bad. And by the way, this is old, this isn't recent. This is like what looks like early Conan, so it's still a little grainy, even though I was watching it on Twitter, and he's over here, and he was skinnier, and he had his shades on inside at night and everything. All the stuff we used to let him get away with. And he was like, oh yeah, you know, you want to make sure that you don't have the air conditioning on, you know, and you got to really have a lot of alcohol for people and a little bit of water, but mostly alcohol. And Conan was like, oh. You could see in Conan's eyes, he was fighting to find a commercial. He was Diddy talking like it's nothing. And like, he's like, oh, yeah, okay. Oof. This is one of the wildest things to me about Diddy, right? Is that he made an enemy a long time ago in a man named 50 Cent. 50 Cent hates Diddy so much. Okay. You ever been in a situation where, let's say there's somebody that you work with, right? And y'all, we're both just regular people, but y'all work together and you don't know what it is, but you hate them. And it's not even because they're bad at their job. They're not even being particularly annoying on purpose, but you can't stand. Every time they pass by, you want to grit your teeth. You hate them. You don't even know why. You don't know where it came from. You just hate them so much. Maybe they have a little quirk, or maybe they chew real loud. Maybe they chew so loud you can tell what they're eating. You know, just something real gross. Maybe they swallow weird and you can hear their esophagus and stuff. And y'all take your lunch at the same time, so you sitting in there while they eating, enjoying it, you yumming it up. You put your AirPods in, you can't drown it out. You still hear, and then every swallow just, and you're like, that I hate. Ooh. And then things keep happening because y'all work together. Y'all work at the same job, so you have to interact with them. Maybe they're even in a different department, but you have to interact with them from time to time, and you hate it because they always bring up the weirdest conversations. They got a lot of feelings about tube socks. 6 sentences into a conversation, you're like, who is this dude? What? Y'all get each other for Secret Santa. You're like, I don't even know what they're gonna get me, but I know it's gonna be weird. Can't stand them. And then one day you're at work and you're at your wit's end, you know, because you hate them so much that you've actually been watching them. Watching them, waiting for them to do something fireable. You know? You even buddy up to HR just so that whenever you bring your case to HR, they'll be like, hey, yeah, buddy, I got you. I've been worried about him too, you know? Going to work, you can't stand this dude. You hate him so much. Sometimes you just look at the back of his head and you don't even know it's you doing it, but all of a sudden you standing behind him and your fist is right there. You hate this dude, and then one day you're at work, regular day. You at work, he's at work, and out of nowhere, you couldn't have imagined it. Truly out of nowhere, Homeland Security comes. And arrest this dude in his big mink coat or whatever he's wearing. No, I don't think anybody felt, more vindicated that was on the outer edges of Diddy's fear than 50 Cent. 50 Cent had hated that dude for years. And look, 50 Cent isn't the one. Don't mess with 50 Cent because not only is he funny, which is already dangerous, he's so funny that you can tell he a natural bully. You ever been bullied by somebody and then went and tell people what they did and the people you told were like, that is funny though, like that's... I know it's wrong, but that was pretty good, like... Because we're not talking even about bullying in the terms of violence. I'm talking about bullying in like waiting for you to get real excited about something and then tricking you right at... Okay. 50 Cent, early in his career, he couldn't stand a dude named Ja Rule. If you don't know who Ja Rule is, then 50 Cent did his job. 50 Cent hated Ja Rule and hated him in a way that I was like, something deeper is going on here. Because you don't just hate a coworker this bad off of nothing. But he couldn't stand him. He felt like he was fake. There was even a series on BET called Beef. Beef was amazing because Beef would make these mini documentaries about different beefs that were happening in all of hip-hop, throughout history and currently. And at the time, one of the current ones was 50 Cent and Ja Rule. And they had interviewed both of them because what they would do with the show that was brilliant was that they wouldn't just like give you this like faceless voiceover David Attenborough documentary style. Like, they really got interviews from everybody, you know? And so then they interviewed Ja Rule. At one point, he was on the couch with some of his buddies and they asked him about 50 Cent and he was just, who? Who? And they interviewed 50 Cent. And 50 Cent was ready. I don't know where 50 Cent was, but I think he made the smart decision to go ahead and be on a balcony or somewhere outside in case he got loud. And he just went in on Ja Rule like they had been longtime enemies. These are two dudes who I'm pretty sure don't know each other at all. But 50 Cent, at one point, he even said, this dude, I'll never forget this. This is when I fully understood like hate on a petty level in my life for the first time. Because I was a teenager watching Beef on BET. And he was on the balcony, so the balcony railing's about here. And 50 Cent just, they did a perfect job with the editing, by the way. They keep cutting back and forth. So every time they give a detail about Ja Rule, 50 Cent said something treacherous, right? It was really great, you know, because then Ja Rule would say something along the lines of like, I'm a star, I don't need to worry about up-and-comers hating on me, blah, blah, blah. And then it would cut to 50 Cent. 50 Cent would be like, yeah, go hang out with the pop stars and Christina Aguilera, whoever you want, if they'll accept you. But dog, you fake, you're fake, you're fake. Like it was like he was getting angrier and angrier throughout the interview. And I remember the interview because the last time they cut to him, I've never seen anything like it. They cut to this dude one last time, and he just went, psh. 50 Cent hated Ja Rule. And then Ja Rule got into it with Eminem. And Eminem and Dr. Dre had, signed 50 Cent, and they were a huge part of his career, especially on the come up, and they collaborated a bunch, and they, were touring together. They would have toured together more if Eminem hadn't decided to stay home and be with family and stuff like that. They tight, right? Making incredible music together, classics. And Ja Rule went at 50 Cent, went at Eminem, because he didn't have a crystal ball. He couldn't see the future. And it went terribly for him. I mean, Eminem just ripped him apart in several songs with references. There were moments, Eminem is too funny, Eminem had a song with him. Haley's in the song, and she's like, is Ja Rule bigger than me? And Eminem said, no, sweetie, y'all are the same size. And Eminem, for his part, was very much above board. I don't really have a problem with you. I was even almost about to squash it. And then you mentioned my daughter's name. My daughter's a kid, man. And so he just went at him, right? And destroyed him thoroughly. But 50 Cent was on a different level. 50 Cent was like, I don't think that this will ever be over. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you apologize to me. Never be over. I can't stand this dude. And Ja Rule goes to prison at one point. I don't remember what for. A part of me thinks 50 Cent had something to do with it, but there's no way for me to tell. But then, if I have my timing right, Ja Rule gets out of prison, and no matter when, I could be wrong about the timing here, but I know that the thing happened. Basically, Ja Rule has a concert. And it's going to be like a big comeback, like get my career going type of concert, you know? Like a welcome home party, a revival of Ja Rule's career. And the tickets actually sell fast, which I was perplexed by. Because I was like, how? Not even as a hater, just like, I don't know. It's like if you found out everybody in the world was actually into air hockey, you'd be like, I had no idea. You always see the table there, but So the tickets were selling fast, and you know, nobody was probably more excited than Ja Rule. And then the day comes for the concert, and Ja Rule goes out, and it turns out that 50 Cent had bought most of the seats. I do my best to put myself in other people's shoes. And I tried to imagine what it would be like if I came out here and y'all weren't here. If it was just 3 of y'all in the back that I had to yell to. Imagine that, trying to still do the show. Yeah, it's crazy out here. But I said all that to say that 50 Cent and everything that happened is to show you that that's the dude that hated Diddy. Hated him so much, hated him to his core, couldn't stand him. For years he hated him. There was even a moment, okay, I'm sure you saw this, but in case you didn't, it's one of the things that really showed me that he hated him on like a petty level, a professional level, business level, all of it. I'm pretty sure it was Diddy that posted a picture of himself. I don't know where he was. Maybe it was New York, maybe it was not Miami or something, but he was on a bike. And he was just riding his bike, and then 50 Cent commented, you know he's smiling because there's no seat on that bike. $50 Cent is funny, and he's not the one. If 50 Cent came at me, I'd be like, should I just shoot myself in the leg or what? I don't want any problems. I'm very sorry for whatever I did. Please don't do this. Because I don't know when it really started, but you take it back, all the way back to the early part of 50 Cent's career, and he's popping, he's killing it, right? Get Rich or Die Trying is an all-time hip-hop classic. Curtis, all-time hip-hop classic. This man is pumping out amazing music. He's having incredible tours and everything. And at one point, he goes, this is years later from the time I'm talking about, but we're going to get back there. He goes on the Breakfast Club, and he talks to them about, you know, things he's promoting, and he's just chilling and everything. And Diddy comes up, and he tells this story of being at a wedding. I don't remember whose wedding, but he was at this wedding, and you know, just hanging out and everything. And Diddy's there, and Diddy's chatting him up, being like, "Man, I like you. You know, you real cool dude and everything. Like, yeah, we should hang out. Let me take you shopping sometime." And then 50 Cent said, "What?" And Diddy doesn't say anything wrong, so he repeats it. He's like, "No, let me take you shopping sometime." And he was like, Man, get away from me. Because Diddy is so hated by 50 Cent that apparently a decade ago, 50 Cent just started gathering information on Diddy. As much as he could find. And he started working on a documentary series on how bad Diddy is. A documentary, he did interviews, he hates this man so much. I've heard of gossip. I've never heard of okay, we're gonna have the whole crew there by 3, all right? And we'll have a place for you to sit, we'll have some snacks and everything. We'll just chop it up, we'll just chat. Tell me everything that he did, that bastard, right? A documentary series that he's already potentially sold to Netflix. He hates this. I've never hated. So I not only do my best not be a hateful person, I really try to let things go and not hate anybody. So I don't even know what it's like to hate someone. So I've never hated someone. So imagine hating someone so much you're willing to edit. You're willing to sit at the computer and be like, no, that's not. Let's see if we can make this B-roll work. This dude hates him so much that there's actually things on the cutting room floor that didn't make it in. Imagine you hate somebody so much you don't even have time for how much you hate them in the thing you made about hating them. And the craziest thing about it is that apparently, I don't know if this is true, but this is what I've been hearing. I looked it up from several outlets, and 50 Cent's documentary series about Sean Combs is titled, Did He Do It? This is the worst enemy to have. You know, you read even some of the stuff that Diddy's accused of, and now some of the text messages have leaked of what people were saying to him and what he was saying to other people at different stages, leading from Cassie coming out about him to present. And yeah, this dude is the devil, you know? But it's also, you're gonna need to be patient with me because I'm gonna try to say it right and I'm probably gonna fail, but just hear me out. You can tell that these people texting Diddy, the things that we've seen so far, because the trial hadn't even started yet. So the things haven't even come out that are the things that people are worried about. Because trust me when I tell you, Diddy the Black Epstein, they already put that dude on watch. But you can tell that he was a terror to so many people for so long, you know? And it's indicative of how we don't believe and protect each other. You know, it's really important that we do. Someone like Diddy is a prime example. When someone comes to you and they tell you that something happened, not only do you need to hear them out, you need to listen to what they're saying, but you also need to, with them, try to find a place where they feel comfortable to tell you more. You know, and what can be done about what they're telling you? Because sometimes people tell you something, they don't know what else to do, so they tell you, and they're like, don't tell anybody, don't do anything, right? And I'm not saying you should disrespect a person's wishes. I'm just saying that on top of that, you really have to talk it out with them and be like, are you sure you don't want me to do anything? You don't think that there's any recourse? You don't think, let me bring you options. Let me try to help you through this thing, right? Because we don't do a good job of believing women, but I'm telling you this, and I know it's not going to sound right when it first hits your ears, but please hear me out. We also need to do a much better job of believing men. Because it's... It is not easy at all. It's one of the scariest things that a person can do to come forward as a survivor of anything that's happened to him. And when a woman comes forward and people do the thing, we already know what they're going to do. There's almost a playbook online of how they're going to treat her, what people are going to say, what's going to happen if it goes to trial, why now, they just want money, all the things. They never fail, right? But when a dude comes forward, you got to remember, this dude was probably willing to take that to the grave. And then something happened where he was like, no, I got to say something, right? You know, there's so many people who would rather die than have people find out what happened to them. So if they tell you, you got to believe them. So many people are letting the fact that Diddy's bi overshadow the fact that he's a monster. That's what's crazy to me, is that it's like, oh man, Diddy was over here trying to kiss the back of this dude's neck. It's like, yeah, you mean assault him? Yeah, I know. You know? I think that's why I'm so thankful for the era that we're in now of people being able to find things on the internet, just at large. I know the internet's a big place. I know there's a lot of artists, a lot of creatives and everything, but the fact that it's now more than ever in the hands of the people, as far as creativity goes and as far as like putting your work out there goes, it's a beautiful thing, because one of the reasons that people like Diddy were able to prevail for so long is because they had something. They had something that they could hold over people. They had power, they had money, they had your access to getting your work out there. And so people, you know, let people like Diddy manipulate and put them in situations they would never be in otherwise, right? But he had the power of a label. One of the best things that Cassie's lawyers did with that lawsuit was implicate all the labels. They didn't just sue him as like Sean Combs. They were like, no, I'm suing everybody. I'm suing the whole thing, because the whole thing's connected, because you use the thing to manipulate. But you don't just walk into a room and be like, I'm Sean Combs, everyone get naked. That's not what's happening. You use the label, you use the fact that you can shelve people, you use the fact that maybe their projects will never come out, you use the fact that they're waiting on the money that they need to fund their project. You use all of these things and you say things without saying them, and before you know it, you have people in a horrible situation, you know? And one of the main things that I can't stop thinking about is how Diddy was able to get away with being Diddy for so long. You know, because there's so many times, there's so many little points in time where so many people's lives would have been different if Diddy had just gone to jail when he was supposed to go to jail, the other times he was supposed to go to jail. Like if you think back, way back, Diddy used to date J-Lo. And when Diddy and J-Lo were dating, they were like a hot couple, you know? And they were always in the tabloids and stuff, and everybody was following them around. I remember, I can't remember if it was the VMAs or the BET Awards, but she went to some award show with a dress that had everybody like, God, that's J-Lo, that's crazy. Oh, and she became this it girl and everything, and she was dating Diddy at the time, and they went to a nightclub together. And when they went to this nightclub, you know, I don't really know the circumstance of the fight starting, but somebody got in a fight with Diddy, right? And it's hard to tell when you in a fight at a nightclub. I've been to nightclubs before. I know it don't seem like it, but I've been to nightclubs before, and I've almost had some altercations at nightclubs. Not even because I meant to. I was just in there, just walking, having a good time, and then maybe somebody's yelling at you. Maybe they're trying to get your attention. Maybe they're trying to fight you. It's hard to tell all that stuff from regular dancing at a nightclub. You know? Because when you see people dance at a nightclub, depending on who it is, they look like they're in their own fight. They look like they're in a battle with the rhythm. They look like they're taking swings at the melody. So it's hard to know that they want to fight you. You know? And then people yell at a nightclub, but yelling is how you talk. It's so loud in here. You know? Like I was in a nightclub one time, I was walking and I must have like stepped on this guy's shoe or something. I didn't mean to. And he was like, hey, like yelling at me, trying to get my attention. And I just turned around and I was like, hi. And that's... that didn't do me any favors, right? Because I really didn't hear him, but leaning over and being like, huh, that's just offering up my face for the punching. And so Diddy got into some altercation with some dude, and no one knows everything that was said, but it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of like, well, I make money too and everything. And then apparently he grabbed some money and he threw it in Diddy's face, right? But this is the way I'd like to imagine it, because apparently it flew up in the air, and I think the only way that could happen is if he had the money, you know, balled up in that roll of money, right? And that roll of money that you just keep together with a thin rubber band, right? So that way when it hits something, the whole thing explodes. And he's like, I make money too, and he threw it and it hit Diddy on the head and just pow. Then it started to rain, right? And so then, you know, gets in this altercation, and then Diddy allegedly pulls a gun out, right? Starts firing off at this dude, okay? And whole like gunfight ensued and everything. And that was one of the wildest nights because, you know, Diddy and J-Lo were not quite like, I wouldn't say like clean cut because they were still like party and hip hop, everything, but they were this it couple. And now this horrible thing had happened and they were at the center of it, right? And there was even a whole trial, and at the trial, J-Lo testified that she only saw Shine pull out a gun. Now, Shine, if you don't remember, was a rapper who was popping at the time. And he went to jail by himself for 10 years. Diddy didn't go to jail. And there was even a woman named Natanya Rubin. And Natanya Rubin has said many times, she never stopped saying it, that she saw Diddy pull his gun. And she knows that Diddy pulled his gun because Diddy shot her in the face. And she survived and everything, but she didn't get any media attention or anything. And then, you know, publications just ran with the fact that J-Lo said Shine did it, and that was enough. Shine was guilty. He was off to jail. But even to this day, Natanya Rubin is like, you need to reopen the case. I'm right here. You know? And she had her surgery and everything. And I mean, to a certain degree, I watched her. She did an interview recently, and you can't really tell, but she says she lives with that pain because there are fragments that they couldn't get out, right? And she's like, he needs to reopen the case. I want justice, you know? And the journalist asked her, would you be willing to give one of the fragments and, like, you know, do the forensic test and everything, because they didn't do one apparently. And she said, yeah, of course. I got 9 fragments. I can spare one. The thing that did Diddy in, you know, really, truly, from his own nature, from his own core, were money, power, and fame, right? And money, power, and fame is a dangerous combination. Messes up a lot of people. Money, because, guys, money. This is what trajectory of money does in the mind. When you have no money and you just imagine having some money, that's even enough money. When you have no money and you're like, man, it'd be nice to eat. That's the money for the meal in front of you is all you need in your mind. You know, it's why people who are desperate, truly desperate, walk up to you and they don't ask for everything that they need. They ask for what they need to get by. They ask for change. They ask for the next thing that they need, because money changes perspective. As the more of it that you get, the more you become not necessarily an insane person, but your ideas, your wants and needs, they start to shift. And they usually, at a certain amount of money, leave Earth. Why do you think all the billionaires are trying to go to space? They're like, I did it all. I did everything here. What's up there? Can I own that? That'd be nice. Money messes with your mind. And then sometimes you think, man, if I had enough money for this thing, oh, I'd be so good, I'd be so benevolent. And maybe you would, but maybe you wouldn't. Maybe having that money and getting attached to it would attach you to it so tight that now I don't really want to have less than. I don't know anyone working in America that's willing to get paid less. You know, we all have, and some of it's just human nature. We all have a little upward mobility, thinking about what's next, thinking about how we can build up. That, I'm not saying that's wrong at all. I'm saying at a certain amount of money, you just lose your mind. You know? And then power. Money and power, they get people to do some of the same things. Money, I'll give you an example. I was in Vietnam a little while ago, right? And the Vietnamese dong, which is their currency, right? One of our dollars is about, at least at the going rate right now, currency exchange-wise, is about 24,200 dong. So if you go there with your yearly salary, you are a billionaire in dong. And we look at our billionaires a certain type of way. We look at them as like, why is this piece of shit hoarding all this wealth? Is he out of his mind? Does he not know how many people he could help? This is crazy. It's billions and billions of dollars. And then you talk to a billionaire and they're like, oh yeah, well, I had this idea of how we could like get to space and stuff. So I was just do that. It's like, we're dying. Why would you? No one cares about space. Why are you hoarding all of it? And then you hear, even in like a billionaire's, I listen to the audiobook because I don't like to read about, I want to know a billionaire's life, but to read it and learn it all slow feels upsetting. I'm just like, let me just let someone tell me so I can feel like I'm talking to a friend, like, what? You know what I mean? Like, that's a little bit smoother of a process. But you talk about, you know, like a billionaire, and the way that they think about us is insane. There are even billionaires that they've said it. Different billionaires are different levels of like loose-lipped. And there are billionaires that have properly said to a camera that they knew was recording. If people knew how good my life was, they would bring back the guillotine. That's what he said. And then you hear other billionaires tell it, and they're like, well, you know, if people are too dumb or too lazy or too scared to take the chances to make money, that's on them. The way that they think about us is insane. But then you see an American, a Brit, maybe somebody from Australia, go to Vietnam and be a billionaire, and it is harrowing how many people turn into our billionaires there. I watched it. I was in a market, right? And there was this British lady that was trying to haggle with this woman who had made this like homemade, like knitted little bag, right? And she was charging like, I don't know, maybe like 5,000 dong for it. Now remember, I told you $1 was 24,000 dong. And this British lady is actually like haggling with her. Like being like, what about 4,000? She's like, no, it's 5. It's like, what about 475? No, 5. And she doesn't know much English, and the British lady's getting annoyed with her, and I'm getting furious because I'm like, you realize the pound is doing better than the dollar, so you're just haggling like, what if I gave you nothing? Would nothing be good? What about nothing? You would love nothing, though. Like, if I gave you nothing, that'd make me feel better as I left. And this person is a billionaire, at least right now. You can tell that they're broke in Britain, though. Like, only a broke person would go somewhere else and then try to be rich really hard. Like, that's... I don't know why you fronting. You know you could only afford the flight. I don't know why you acting like this right now. acting like these people are trying to cheat you out of something. You know you already have a leg up. It's crazy. But it is how billionaires think sometimes. Because then when we work at a corporation that's $1 billion, maybe even you work at Apple, Amazon, you work at one of the truly big ones that's about to hit the trillions of dollars, right? And then you want a raise, and you want a substantial raise, and it's nothing for them because they have billions of dollars, and they're still like, why should we give you anything? It's the same mentality, right? And so Diddy had money, and he had the type of money that makes people do things, bend to your will and everything. And so he bent it, and he had power. And this is the thing about power. I'm someone who wants very little power. Because I don't know, I can think about what I might do, but I don't know what I would do with power. That's terrifying. Don't give me power. If I had the power to make Ted Cruz punch himself in the balls, whether it was like X-Men mind control or if I just had enough money that he would do it, if I could make Ted Cruz punch himself in the balls non-stop, his balls would never rest. I would go overboard with my power. And Diddy had lots of power. He had power, he had influence, and used all of it to garner more and to truly hurt people. He didn't care who he hurt. You can see it when you read the indictment. And he did it for long as well, you know? And then fame is the last thing. Fame, you can't actually control, especially now. There are people that want to be very famous, and they might get there. And then there are people who don't mean to be famous at all, but then someone's just recording, and then a TikTok is made. There are people who become famous overnight, and all they did was trip. That's too random. Fame is the one that gets away from you. Money, you can decide how much money you want to keep, how much money you want to make, especially if you have the means to just be making boatloads of money. You can take a step back and be like, a lot of money is enough money. I don't need all the money. Power you wield, and power you can also give away. You can tell someone, I want to bring you in. I want to make you powerful as well, right? Fame, not really. There are plenty of people that the industry has tried to make famous, and we were like, nah. But people with power, people with money, they can promise fame, even if they can't deliver. And because they have so much money and so much power, it looks like they can give you fame. And so that's another way that Diddy manipulated and abused people, was through his fame and the promise of fame that was to come to them. Right? And money, power, and fame is actually what screwed Diddy. Not just his own. The fact that he finally met up with the U.S. government. No government is more powerful with more money or more famous. And when you put the two up against each other, his is, money and power and fame of the U.S. government, the money that they have. You think you have money, they can freeze your money. You can show up to court and they'll be like, oh, you broke. Oh, I'm sorry, you thought you had money? Oh, I feel terrible for you. It must suck to be broke. They can freeze your accounts. Power? You want to talk about federal power? Look at the conviction rate of federal prosecutors. It's in the 90s for a reason. People either plead out or they're like, no, I'm going to be vindicated in court. And the U.S. government is like, I bet you won't. Fame? What government is more famous, especially as far as their judicial system? What government is more famous than the U.S. government? They looking at Diddy right now like, oh, you blew up Kid Cudi's car, that's cute. We killed MLK. And Malcolm X. No, you're done, bro. You know, it's over. Because I think about how does a person become that evil? You know what I mean? And so a lot of it is ego. Ego's a dangerous thing. Ego is like a dish that only feeds you false fruit, right? Like the more that you eat off of your own ego, the more you starve your spirit. Like it's the way to sickness, you know? Like ego is this like still small voice, right? Telling you the most important thing is I. Like ego stands in like the middle of pride right there. But then when things happen, when consequence comes, ego never shows up. Ego is like a friend. Ego's like a friend that's like, hey, come on, the door's unlocked. Let's get in this house. No, let's just see what's inside. There might be some good stuff in there. It's like, but it's not my house. Come on. Then ego gets you to go in there. And then you're like, there's some shiny stuff. And then you start grabbing stuff. And then before you know it, you see blue and red lights. And you're like, come on, we got to get out. And ego's gone already. Like, I think about how it got here, you know, and how many people Diddy hurt and why he was allowed to get away with it for so long. And I can't help but think that a lot of what he was allowed to get away with is because it happened to black women. You know what I mean? When people say protect black women, they don't mean that black women can't protect themselves. We mean that when you look at the stats and you look at who the powerful people hurt because they know that they can do it, it's the same people. I guess what I'm trying to say is I hope Diddy gets life. And I hope he lives forever.
Make it loud right now for my friend Josh Johnson!
Is this really happening? Is this really happening? Was a thing that I found myself saying. I was with my friends and we were hiking, which was a mistake. Hiking, I don't hike often. Even the first time I went hiking was a bit of a trick, because they said it was a walk. Which is technically not a lie, but it's not the walk I was anticipating. You can walk places. I could walk here. Hiking is going up nature steps for no reason. I'm not being a hater, by the way. If you like to hike, hike. Go take a hike. But if you want me to hike with you, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just good enough company that they're like, oh, we'll miss them. Let's hike together. As soon as I'm walking up, we have a problem. like a walk. I like to go on a walk. That's how they got me. As soon as I'm walking and the steps are not, we've figured out steps. We have figured out the rise and the run that'll actually be decent on your hips. You want to get some exercise? Walk up that thing that Rocky ran up. This thing, I was like, eventually I'm like, where are we going? And they're like, to see the view. It's a beautiful day. We figure we go for a hike to see the beautiful view. And I'm like, oh, because you called it a walk. And then we hike. And we hike. I think about how the word hike got started. It's probably somebody going up for no reason. Seeing somebody coming down, because that's the other thing. Whenever you go hike, there'll be people who already hiked that you'll see on the way, and they'll give you hope. It's sick. It's sick. They will give you hope because now that it's easier to go down. You can fall down. It's easy to go down. So then the people that hiked up already, they were already tall. They were already there. And then now they turn around, and when they see you, you'll ask a question. Like I ask a question because I'm not enjoying hiking. So then I'm like, how much further? And I hate the way I ask. It's not exactly a manly way to ask. I'm not even putting on any like tough face. I'm like, how much further? And then they're like, you're almost there, and it's beautiful. Two lies in one sentence. Two. It feels like you're almost there to them because they turned around. They're going down now. It's easy. Going down is, smooth. They forgot when they were where we are. They've turned around. They don't even care how long it takes to get down because you're always almost down. If you get real tired of walking down, you can lean. Gravity will take care of the rest. It's gonna be beautiful. And then you keep walking. And then eventually you see another person. And you're like, that's crazy. I probably shouldn't see another person because I was almost there when I saw the last person. And you see the next person, the next person, just as optimistic. It's gross. I'm just as happy. I barely even got out the sentence to the next person. It's much further. And they're like, it's just a little bit further, and beautiful. Don't ever do that for anything but food. Don't stop acting like you can taste experience. The view, like. Did you walk up with your mouth open? Why? What's wrong with you? And luckily, this person, this liar, had a friend, a reluctant friend, a friend like me. Because they were like, oh, no, you're going to love it. You're almost there. It's beautiful. And then their friend was like, friends over here. Which is also crazy. I was like, why were they just telling us with their eyes. Like, clearly, I don't know. It felt like they were in a relationship. Or one of them was trying to be. Like, that was a weird get out signal. It was a weird, like... You know when somebody shakes their head and the jowls really go like... We go up. We go up. We go up. And then I see another person. I see another person. And they're coming down. And when I see them, I'm like, I love. And who knows? Maybe it was like looking to them. Maybe we were having a very specific moment. Maybe they used to be like me because they somehow, genuinely, they somehow understood me. And they were like, it's right behind me. Kept walking down. And then we get up there and I see the view. That is cloudy. I walked all the way up here to see stuffing. Like it looked like, you know, like when a dog rip up a toy real good. Bunch of white clouds, some gray. I didn't know we walked this high. At one point I had to ask myself, I'm like, am I still alive? Like this. Is this happening? Is what was going through my head when I saw it coming at us. This turtle. The turtle was coming at, and not just a turtle coming at us, a turtle was coming at us fast. None of this should be happening. I'm at the top of a mountain with a fast turtle locking in on me. The turtle is coming so fast. And when I tell you fast, I don't mean fast for a turtle. I mean actually fast. I mean it like almost broke my brain. Fast. A turtle. And not like fast like, not like storybook fast, not like sloppy fast, which felt faster. It was really like flip, 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 but at like warp speed. It's crazy. It was, guys, y'all, listen. I was losing my mind because it wasn't like, you know what I mean? It wasn't fast the way a roach can be fast. It was fast like a turtle put on fast forward. This turtle is over here coming directly at me. And so appropriately, I scream. And this is what sucked about that day. I'm already out of breath from my walk up. So I can't breathe enough to scream, and I'm also scareder than I've been in several days. because a turtle is zooming at me fast. And so then I've got my phone in my hand, and this is the worst part, okay. So I scream, but I scream with the phone in the hand. And when you, maybe this is like a man thing. Maybe this might sound insane to some of y'all. But as a man, when you scream and you're genuinely scared, you hope you don't have anything in your hands. Because the way your hands shake the thing in your hands betrays how scared you are. If I scream, but I don't have anything in my hands, I'm like, ah! That's life. I had my phone in my hand, so I had a visible representation of how terrified I was, because the phone is like, ah! If the phone had moved a centimeter in my hand, it'd be like, he's not even really that scared, he's just surprised. The phone moved easily 1.5 feet. Ah! And then I seemed insane to my friends because I saw it first. So for them, I'm someone who they admittedly tricked into hiking, and I was huffing and puffing, and everyone we saw was like, how much further? How much further? And now we're at the top, and they're mad too. All they see are clouds. We probably shouldn't have done this. There's plenty of places to exercise. And then they're looking out at this disappointing view, and they hear, ah! It would have been better if I had dropped my phone, because I'm screaming and I'm back on, ah! And then the turtle is coming at me. And then everybody sees it. And this is where I lose people and people lose me, because then this is where the story gets muddy, right? Because we all ran. Everybody ran. I turned around, everybody with me. So we were all scared. And everybody ran, right? But then, after we run, after we're safe, now they want to tell me that wasn't a turtle. I saw it first. I saw it the longest. I decided what it was. And I'm not even saying I decide what it was because I'm always right. I'm just saying I think I should get to decide what it is because I was staring at it the longest and it was coming right at me. Terrifying stuff, you know? Do you, like, care? Do you, like, not about that. Do you, No, do you care? Because, okay, there are things that happen sometimes that no one can agree on, like, the proper etiquette for how to handle. Because there's enough going on socially that people start making up rules as they go to sort of get through life. And then after a while, you know, now that we're not like in the wilderness anymore, and now that we have like modern technology, now there's a little bit of breakdown. There's a little bit of breakdown in like what's proper etiquette, right? So for me, this is my thing, and I'm not asking you, don't say anything out loud. Answer the question in your head, because I cannot tell, and I've had countless arguments about this. Is it messier to answer the phone on speakerphone and not tell somebody they're on speakerphone? Or is it messier to call somebody knowing you want to talk mess and there's a possibility of being on speakerphone. It's hard to tell. They're both not good. It's happened many times. Many times I've been in the car with somebody and they throw speakerphone on. They either are, trying to drive responsibly, or they just love answering on speakerphone because they love having their hands free and they don't have their AirPods in or whatever, right? One time, I was with some friends and they were calling some family. We're in the car and family member picks up. But it's not who they call, it's the kid. The kid calls and is like, hi. And we're like, hey, how you doing? Like, oh, I'm good. And this kid doesn't care that they're on speakerphone. They don't have anything to say that's like, hush hush. But they're like, what are you doing? And the kid is like, oh, I'm just eating hot dogs and sitting on toilet. Okay. Okay. Good talk, buddy. Many times it's been, conversation, calling, answer, speakerphone. I personally think that if I call you and you pick up and I'm on speakerphone should be my last name. You're on speakerphone should be my last name. Hey, Josh, you're on speakerphone. A simple warning. And I'm not even messy like that, but still, what if something happens in real time? I should know when I'm in mixed company and when I'm in the company of the person that I called. I wasn't in the car for this one. But, okay. Let's just call them, Mark and Sarah. Mark had been away on some business, and this was back in the day before Uber. So you really needed somebody to pick you up from the airport if you didn't park your car at the airport beforehand. You could call a taxi, but it'd be quite a while and everything, right? And so Sarah's mom picked up Mark at the airport, and they had schemed together to surprise Sarah with him being back in town early, because she was already supposed to have a little picnic with her mom, and it was just going to be one of those picnics where it's the mom comes and she's like, who's that behind you? It's Mark. Oh, wow. Before YouTube, so it wouldn't have gone viral. And so then Sarah's mom, thinking it would be a cute little thing to tee up what they were about to do, calls Sarah just to be like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. I'm excited for our picnic. Oh, so am I. Have you talked to Mark today? No, I haven't talked to him today. Oh, okay. I was just wondering. Just, a little primer for the surprise, right? And so she calls her, and she's on speakerphone. And Sarah picks up, and she's like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. Excited for our picnic. Oh, so am I. Have you talked to Mark today? No. We haven't talked today. And honestly, it's probably important that we do, because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's just hard. I feel like the spark is gone. It's just. You know, and maybe you went through this thing with dad, but just, I don't know, like, sometimes he's gone and I'm like, all right. You know what I mean? This doesn't really feel like it used to or anything. And even when he gets back, I'm like, not that excited. I should be more excited. I don't know, like, it's probably, we should probably get a divorce. Like, if I've been feeling this way for so long. And Sarah's mom looks over at Mark like, ugh. You know when you can't cringe enough? I've never been driving for it, but like, I imagine that steering wheel was going through it. She had to be gripping that thing. Like the car was about to take off and fly away. And then she goes, well, sweetie? Mark's with me now. And Mark goes, hey, honey. Then she goes, oh. Do you think we should get a divorce? And it's like, do you even care that you're on speakerphone? Like, I am not like a tough guy. Sometimes I've like wanted to be a tough guy before. Especially when I was like little, I wanted to be like, yeah, tough. I'd even try to break the rules sometimes. You know what I mean? I'd have a pen, and I'd walk right up to like a white wall and be like, Vandalism. Deal with it. Like, I wanted to like be bad, but I just didn't. I didn't have it. Even now, it's like it's never done a drug. I don't drink or anything. One time I was like, you know what? Why should I deprive myself? Everybody seems like they're having so much fun. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have a virgin margarita. I wonder what the flavor is. I've never had margarita flavor before. And so I had a virgin margarita. Turns out, way too sweet. Like, ridiculously sweet. I used to be a bar back where I served people virgin margaritas. No wonder they got so drunk. These are delicious. I didn't have any alcohol, but I was like, I think I'll have another. I think I'll have another. I think I'll have another. To the point where I did get sick. I got sick off virgin margaritas. And like real sick too. Like, called my friends. I was so sick. I was with some friends. I called other friends. I called friends to be like, you know, y'all been drunk before. Y'all have had your benders and everything. I don't have any alcohol in me, but I got like the other half. I got like all the sugars. My stomach hurt. And like, look, I don't like don't like that it happened. But I was not throwing up. I was just saying ooh a lot because it felt like I was gonna throw up. So I kept being like ooh, 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 because then you know when you think you're about to throw up, so you start arguing with yourself, where you're like no. I'm telling my friends, oh, I don't, and they're like, do you need us to take you to the hospital? I don't know if I'd live it down. I don't know if I could live down being rushed to the hospital off virgin margaritas. Maybe having to get my stomach pumped off virgin margaritas because I ingested a childish amount of sugar. But they were like, I called my friend, and they were like, do you need us to take you to the hospital? I was like, who is us? And they were like, oh, I'm sorry, you're on speakerphone. There's no way to take your cool back off speakerphone. I was so embarrassed. I was on speakerphone, and then I muted. I don't know what I was thinking. I was drunk on virgin margaritas. Oh. But those are the things I've been thinking about because I've been watching what's happened. Whether you like Jimmy Kimmel or not, whether you watch the show, whether you care about his show or him, or like, oh, it's television. I've heard all the excuses. The excuses came quick. The excuses came quick because this is unprecedented. And when things are unprecedented, you wonder should you do something? And you don't have to do anything if there's an excuse. You don't have to do anything if it's okay. I've heard people, oh, well, I'm sure they were losing money anyway. No. Oh, well, I don't really like what he said. What'd he say? Oh no, this thing was a long time coming because of how he's been acting. How has he been acting? Help me understand. Because the thing about free speech, especially like free speech wars, you always have to be careful. Who actually cares about everybody's speech? Who's an actual absolutist, and who's just trying to get in? Who's just trying to sneak in? Because there are some people who have some heinous things to say, and they want to be able to say those things, and they use free speech as their anchor. That's their in. They wedge themselves in that way. But then, when it's their turn to talk, what they actually want is for other people to not be able to talk. That's what they've wanted for a long time. I'm blown away about a thing that we've done since I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, it was explained to me that we had all these sorts of rights, and that these rights were fought for, and that these rights were things that we had that other people didn't have. There are other people in other countries that weren't as fortunate to have the rights that we have, right? And there's always been something that bothered me about that sentiment, about that idea. Because your freedom
Your freedom it's yours because it's yours. Nobody can give it to you. Nobody can make you as free as you were born. Life gives you freedom. You're supposed to be free. You're supposed to be able to say the things that you think. You're supposed to be able to express yourself. Government can't give you freedom. It can definitely try to take things away, but even within what it tries to take away, it can't really take it away because the freedom wasn't given to you by the government to take away. Government can, you could buy a house at auction. Let's say somebody fell behind on their property taxes, so now their property's up for auction. You buy it, then you fall behind on those same property taxes. Government takes it away. It was never really yours. Freedom doesn't work that way. And so we walk around and we talk about how we have all these freedoms. These are our freedoms, and they're not from a government. These are God-given things. These are things that you were born with. These are things that nobody can take away. Even if they try. Even if they try. Look, they've tried with people throughout history. And there are people that live in a world without those freedoms, right? But even the resistance to express yourself is still your freedom trying to like sprout out of all of that cover. Your freedom is yours. I can't stress it enough. It's like saying, government, let me keep all my toes. Well, the government can only try to take away toes. They don't really hand out toes. It feels like you're giving the government an awful lot of credit. It's your freedom. It was given to you by something that outlasts all of this stuff. You know what I mean? And it can't really be taken away. You can be manipulated, and you could be scared. You could be angry enough, like some people are angry enough, to let someone's freedom of speech be taken away. You could be fearful. You could be so fearful that just the threat of an investigation, just the threat of some sort of government overreach makes you cave before there's even a solidified threat there. You know, you have a fear, you have an anger, you can have a hate that goes deeper than an anger. You can be so confused about what's going on, you just want someone to make a definitive statement about anything. You'll just go with it because you hate not knowing, you hate uncertainty. And then you see something like what happened to Jimmy Kimmel happen. And then you see people ask, is this really happening? Because it was never supposed to be able to happen here. And it's because of a lie that we told ourselves. We told ourselves that every country and everyone was different from us. Which is why we don't recognize ourselves when things that are only supposed to happen in other places happen here. You know? That's low-key the American way. The American way is to be like, well, look, of course it would happen there. It's because they're not over here. And it's like, no, whatever it is, happened over there because it could happen anywhere, especially if you're not vigilant, especially if you think that things won't happen to you just because. There is no more just because. Is this really happening? Yes, it's happening. As wild as it may seem, as surreal as it is, you know, it's coming, and it's coming fast, like a turtle that shouldn't be on a mountain. Is this happening? Yes, it is happening. This is happening. There's no way around it. The people who are okay with it are okay with it for now. But there are plenty of people that I don't even like that have the presence of mind to know that this is not just crazy, this is unacceptable. This cannot happen here. It can't happen here. Because, look, this is the other scary thing about government. And I'm not just trying to scare you. I'm just telling you everything that I've seen, everything I've ever read about, and people from other countries that have different life experiences to us. I'm telling you what they're saying, right? Pendulum swing. And one thing that governments don't do, hardly any government does, is give back the power it took in some way. You know what I mean? If you give over to fear, if you give them these things, they will be given and taken for good. There's no way around it. And we've already seen you cannot do enough. You will not be good enough. You won't be complacent enough. You can't placate enough to make it stop. It will not stop. They came for a white man with money. Do you know how nervous that makes a black guy? They came for a white man with money that really didn't do anything. And when I say really didn't do anything, people can go back and forth about trying to cherry pick or like the phrase of a thing, or here's what I thought he said when he said whatever. That does not matter. That actually gets us into a conversation we shouldn't even be in, because it shouldn't even be on the table, all right? It is not going to just go away, and it's not going to just stop. So then it's important. Do you care? Because if you care, that's very different. If you're scared, it's understandable. Plenty of people are scared. People with money are scared. ABC was scared. Disney was scared. You know Disney. Oh, you know Disney. Disney was scared. Disney, the same people who come up from behind you if you draw a picture of Mickey and go, what do you think you're doing with that, huh? Huh? We'll change the fair use laws and we'll make this illegal. Those people were scared. Being scared is human. But not doing anything is a choice, and not making your voices heard, and not you don't just take for granted what's happening. I think that there is, in my opinion, not enough alarm bells sounding. You know what I mean? Because we all saw it, but it's like in a hush, in a whisper, and I'm wondering why that is, because this man still loses in court. Just today, a judge threw out some $15 billion defamation lawsuit against the New York Times. When these things go to court, they don't not just win, they don't prevail, they don't proceed, because under the law, they are illegal, you know? And any sort of strong arming by the government should really, really, really sound the alarms for any citizen. Pendulums swing. Governments do not give back power that they've taken. 9/11 was a long time ago. When did we get our privacy back? You know what I mean? So, So if it happened with privacy and then became normal and then you didn't really care, the same thing could happen with speech. All of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I guess I should get Grok to proofread my sentiments on the day. You're not alone in being worried, you're not alone in being fearful, you're not alone in being angry. The thing about not being alone is that you just have to find the other people. You have to find the other people who feel the way that you feel, and you have to stay in communion with them as strong as you can. Because it's the other people who feel the way you feel that will stop you from feeling crazy. And it is the only thing. That's the only thing that will, if you keep the phone in your face, you will feel like you're losing your mind. Because it's all happening so fast, all happening all the time. Like, I'm not a tough guy. I'm not. I almost die off virgin margaritas. And I screamed. I screamed. And I ran from a turtle. But I can't run from this, and neither can you. I love you all, and we have each other, okay? Thank you all so much. Thanks for coming out.
Mira.